So welcome to the inside inspection. We're doing the inside inspection for the Class B vehicle. So the first things first, when the examiner gets inside the truck, first thing you want to do is start up your engine. You're going to let them know that you're going to build your air pressure so that you can start your air leak test. It's always going to be air leak test, at least over here in New York. All right, so we're just going to take a quick look. We're going to shut on our lights. And we're going to take a quick look at our air tanks to see what our air tanks look like. So right now, if your air tanks are not at 120 PSI, what you want to do is rev your engine and bring your RPM to about 12 to 15 to raise the air pressure until you hear the air governor cut out. We should hear it cut out soon. There it is. It just cut out. When you hear that little sneeze, that's when you know it cuts out. So now we're ready to begin the air leak test. So now we want to do this 4 steps. 4 steps we have to do. We're going to shut off our engine. Then we're going to put it in battery mode or ignition on. That's when you see these lights, that you know you did it. The third thing we're going to do is put our foot on the brake and just hold it. You don't have to push it in hard. And then the last thing you want to do is pushing your parking brake. So now you're going to tell the examiner, the needle's going to drop, the air's going to drop from about 120 to about 110 or 100. It's when you push this in, about 20 pounds leave the tanks. So when that needle stops, when these needles stop, then you're going to start your timer for 1 minute. You're going to tell the examiner just like this: I'm checking for an air leak. I'm not going to lose more than 3 PSI in 1 minute. So you sit here, you awkwardly wait for 1 minute. 57, 58, 59, 60. After you wait your 1 minute, you're going to tell them, okay, I have no leak if the needle didn't move. If the needle moved, then unfortunately you have a leak. Next thing you're going to check for is, you're always checking for something, you're always looking for it to go with a number. So the next thing you're checking for is the low air warning system. Low air warning system should come on at 60 PSI. So you're going to pump your brake until you have your alarm. Okay, so now the low air warning alarm is working. Next thing you want to check for is your parking brake to pop out. Your parking brake should pop out between 20 and 40 PSI. So again, you want to pump your brake. Until this pops out, you're going to watch it. Okay, so the parking brake properly popped out, so it's working. The last step you want to talk to them about, the last thing you want to check is your air governor and your air compressor. It's up front in the engine. So what you're going to do is tell them, okay, I'm going to check for my air governor, air compressor is supposed to cut off at 120 PSI. So that's, you're going to start your engine, and you're going to let it slowly build up. So I want the beeping to go off, so I'm just going to rev the engine, and I'm going to start the actual inspection part when the alarm goes off. So I'm just revving the RPMs a little bit over 15, and then so it can build faster. Okay, so the alarm is off, so now we can get started. First, I'm going to start with my 5 emergency items. My 5 emergency items are going to be my seatbelt. Okay, so my seatbelt is not cut, it's not loose, it's not frayed, not damaged. It latches to the buckle, it unlatches from the buckle, but I'm just going to keep it on. Next thing I'm going to check is my horn. Horn is properly working. The next thing I'm going to check for is my fire extinguisher. It is secure and it is at the proper level, so it's on the green marker on the needle. The next 2 things are going to be the 3 reflective triangles is under the passenger seat, as well as the spare fuses are under the passenger seat. So that's my 5 emergency items. Next, I'm going to check on my glass. My windshield is clean, it's clear of any debris. My side mirrors and my side windows are clean of any debris. Okay, windows working, and both of the mirrors are working, right? Setting it to my view so I can see. Okay, I can see it's set. Next thing I'm going to check for is the windshield wipers, the windshield wiper and the windshield wiper blades. This time we checked it outside to see if it was hanging or cracked or damaged or working or mounted secure. this time we're actually checking to see if they work. So the windshield wiper and the windshield wiper fluid is properly working. Okay, next you're gonna check the dashboard. The dashboard is clean of any debris. There's nothing on the dashboard obstructing your view from seeing. Next we're gonna come down to the gear shifter and the parking brake. The gear shifter is not cracked, broken, or damaged, and the parking brake is not cracked, broken, or leaking. Next you're gonna turn all three of these options to the right. 1, 2, 3. You're checking the defroster and the heater. The defroster and the heater are properly working. It's about 80 degrees out, so we're gonna turn that back down. Next thing you want to check is the floor. The floor is clean of any debris. Okay, there's nothing on the floor. Next, we're gonna come over here to the steering wheel and check the free play on the steering wheel. There's no more than 2 inches on the steering wheel. Next, you're gonna check all your lights. Don't forget about your lights. The left blinker is working. The right blinker is working. The high beams are working. The 4-way flashes are working, which is up top here. And then the actual headlights is working, which is the 3rd switch over here. Okay, so after you check your lights, you're gonna check all your gauges. The only 5 gauges that they really want you to check is the oil pressure gauge. Should be around 40 PSI. You just basically tell them my oil pressure gauge is at the proper level. Water temperature gauge is at the proper level, which is around 180. Your voltmeter, it should be properly charging between 12 and 14 volts. And then your air gauges, which are both over here, they should be charged up to 120 PSI, which they are. So the air governor went off and it's properly working. So we know that that's good. We know that the inspection part is good because we just completed everything. So now the last 2 parts, or the last part of the in-cab inspection is to do a tug test. So the first thing you want to do, put your foot on the brake, and then you want to put the vehicle into the drive gear. Okay, you're going to leave your parking brake alone because it's already out, it's parked, and you're going to let go of the brake and give a little gas. Okay, the truck did not move. That means that your parking brake is properly holding, it's working. Now you put your foot back on the brake, and the next and last step you want to do is check to see if your service brake is properly working. So we're going to release our parking brake. So now the truck is free to roll. You leave it in drive, and now you can roll forward, and you're gonna drive forward for about 5 miles per hour for 50 feet. So I'm gonna go all the way up here. The truck's not leaning to the left or the right, and I'm gonna come to a nice soft stop. Okay, so the truck stopped completely, which means that the parking brake is properly working. So that completes the full in-cab inspection from beginning to the end.